Hello again. Welcome back. Welcome to a new class. Yes, to class number 180. We have, how many classes? How many classes do we have left? We have 16 classes left. That's 3 weeks. 3 weeks plus 1 day. So it's clear that we're moving forward. It's clear that we're getting closer and closer to the end of this course. And it's clear that you will have a decision to make. For me, it's a very easy decision. When we finish, the decision is for you to continue on your own. On your own. If you're an official student, I think it would be a good idea to go back for the next 5 months and watch each program again on the internet if you can, if you have your password or secret code. Second, the last day of this program, I'll give you a lot of little pointers, a lot of little tips, some advice on the best ways to keep your English fresh and to continue improving it. But in the meantime, let's go to camera 1. Let's review a bit class 179, shall we? Let's go. Okay, class 179 was very easy. It was very easy. It was simply little, a little, few, a few. Okay. How much time do you have left? Well, I have very little time left. Very little. I don't have much. I really don't have too much time left, I'm sorry. I have very little time left. Or I could say, bueno, tengo un poco de tiempo. Me queda un poco de tiempo. I have a little bit. I have a little bit of time left, just a little bit, just enough. We can do some things together. We still have some time to do a few things. But if I say I have very little time, that's very, not negative, but it's a bit pessimistic. You still want to do some more things? I have very little time right now. I have very little time. I have very little spare time on my agenda. Spare time. I don't have much spare time. I don't have too much spare time. I really don't. I really don't have too much spare time. Spare time means extra time, additional time. For you, for example. I really don't have much time. I have very little free time during the day. I have very little time to do the things I need to do. I have to spend a lot of time here. I have to spend a lot of time in the radio. I have to spend a lot of time in my car, driving back and forth between my different commitments. I spend a lot of time in my car, and I can't use my cell phone. I'm not supposed to. It's against the law. Yes, it's against the law. Once they stopped me, once the police stopped me because they saw me using a cell phone in my car, and the police woman, it was a lady, it was a young lady, she said, you know, it's a very important fine. Yeah, but she said, but I'm only giving you a warning. Don't do it anymore. And I want to tell you that I enjoy your English program on television every day. And so I was lucky I didn't get a fine. But I have so little time. I have such a little bit of time that I really don't have time to help you. I have only a little bit of time to spend with you because I have very little time on my agenda. I really don't have too much time. I'm sorry. How much free time do you have? How much time do you have on the weekends? How much time? How much milk do you keep in your refrigerator on a regular basis? How much butter or margarine do you keep in your refrigerator? How much? How much? How much does an economy car cost? How much does it cost to cross the Atlantic on a plane? How much does it cost in gasoline to drive from Madrid to Barcelona? How much does it cost to learn English? How much does it cost? How much does it cost? ¿Cuánto cuesta? How much does it cost? This is an advanced class. You're an advanced student, I suppose. However, strangely, in every class, even with the most advanced students, if I ask them, ¿Cómo se traduce? Tradúceme, ¿cuánto cuesta? And they can't translate it. They can't say it right. How much does it cost? All right. How much does it cost to spend 2 weeks on a Mediterranean cruise in first class? How much does it cost to go to some of the best restaurants in Spain? How much does it cost? How much does it cost to drink the best wines every day? How much does it cost? Now, how much time? How long does it take? How much time do you spend? How much time do you usually spend getting ready for work? How much time do you spend in your car every day? Con el verbo to spend, casi siempre how much. How much time do you spend? How much time do you spend traveling on vacation? How much time do you spend reading every week? How much time do you have to do the things you really like to do? How much? Pooh, I have very little time. I have very little time to do the things I really like to do. I have to steal time to do the things I really like to do. So really, I don't have much time. I have very little time. I don't have much time. I have very little time. In inglés, tengo poco tiempo. I have little time. Hay poco agua. There's little water. Hay poca posibilidad. There's little possibility. But normally in English, we don't say this. We add very. All right. Tenemos poco tiempo. En inglés decimos tenemos muy poco tiempo. Hasta suena poco natural decir tenemos poco tiempo. We have little time is correct. But probably nobody says that. People say we have very little time or we don't have much time. We don't have much time. We have very little time is more negative than we don't have much time. We don't have much time. But often, probably 60-70% of the time, we use the negative. We don't have very much time left. No nos queda mucho tiempo. In this segment, I have very little time left. In fact, I have less than a minute, which means I don't have much time to do anything really productive right now, except to keep talking about how much, not much, very little, a little. All right. We have a little time, but not now. We have very little time. All right. There's very little time, and if you need to find time, if you tell me you have very little time to study English, then you have a problem. Because one constant in the English learning equation is time. And if you can't find the time, if your problem is time, then you have an insoluble problem. You will never learn English because you must find important quotas of time to devote to the language. All right, I'll be back in just a few minutes, so see you later.
Hello, my name's Carly Carson. Nice to see you again. Before we start the review of the previous class, I want to introduce my student. I'm here with David. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you. How are you?
Awesome. Great as well. I believe him when he says he's great. He's so sincere about it. Good. We're going to do a review of mastering the interrogative, all right? Constant questions to perfect the interrogative in English. We're going to focus on how much here, okay? Cuánto. But in the uncountable nouns, how much versus how many. So how much? He drank a liter of beer on the weekend.
Sorry, could you repeat it?
Yeah, he drank a liter of beer on the weekend.
How much beer did he drink at the weekend?
Good, yeah, at the weekend or on the weekend. They're both perfect. Good. How much beer did he drink? How much beer did he drink? He paid $250,000 for his house.
How much money did he pay for his house?
Perfect, good. How much or how much money? You can always choose there because we know it's money, yeah? Good. I have no patience for ignorant people.
How much patience do you have for ignorant people?
For ignorant.
How much patience do you have for ignorant people?
Good. David's surprised that I'm insulting people.
Yeah, come on.
Ignorant, right, is the emphasis. Ignorant. They paid 2,000 euros on their vacation.
How much did they pay on their vacation?
Good. Or they spent 2,000 euros on their vacation as well.
How much did they spend on their vacation?
Good. So to spend on, and probably more common, to pay for. Good. I have a lot of hope that he'll move there.
How much hope do you have that they'll move there?
That he'll move there.
How much hope do you have that he'll move there?
Good. Yeah. How much hope do you have? I have a lot of hope. Yeah. So hope is uncountable. Good. He bought 2 sacks of rice.
How many sacks of rice did he buy?
Good. And he bought 2 liters of rice.
How many liters of rice?
You could say how many or
Uh,
how much.
how much? But what do you say
I
now?
said he bought 2 liters, like 2-liter tubs of rice, for example.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many liters?
Not.
no,
I wouldn't say how many. I would say how much rice.
Okay. How much rice did he buy?
Perfect. Good. Okay. You could say liter, or you could say like a liter-sized tube, but it's full of rice. Yeah. So
Okay.
I said he bought 2 sacks of rice. You could say how many sacks of rice, or how much.
Okay.
How much rice? Because we're focusing on the rice, yeah, which is uncountable. Good. They made 14 loaves of bread.
How many loaves or bread did they
Of bread.
did they make?
Good. Or without loaves in general with bread.
How much bread did they make?
Perfect. Did they?
Did they make?
Good, good, good. I thought I heard that. Good. Now, careful here, because I could always say, how many loaves of bread did they make is perfect. But you don't know that I made loaves of bread or that they made loaves of bread.
Okay.
So how much bread did they make? And I count bread with loaves.
Okay.
Yeah, so how much bread? How much bread is difficult to say. You have to count it. So they made 10 loaves of bread. How much bread did they make? Yeah? Good. 2 more. He weighed 80 kilos last year.
How much did he weigh last year?
Perfect, good. So weigh, not weight. Weight is the noun. To weigh is the verb. Good. They used half a liter of cream to make the cake.
How much cream do they use to? How much cream did they use to make the cake?
Perfect, good. How much cream did they use? And then I say they used half a liter, yeah? Good. There wasn't a lot of evidence in the case.
How much? No.
Yeah.
How much evidence was there in the case?
Perfect, good, right? Because evidence is pruebas, right?
Okay.
And evidence is uncountable.
Yes.
We don't have evidences, yeah? There
Okay.
wasn't a lot of evidence. How much evidence was there, yeah? Is that
Okay.
strange?
Yeah.
Last one. He ate 2 cups of ketchup.
How many cups of ketchup did he eat?
Good, or with ketchup?
How much ketchup did he eat?
Good, because the student or the person asking is always going to refer to the object, the uncountable. How much ketchup did he eat? And then I counted. He ate 2 cups of ketchup. Can you believe it? But I have to count it after you ask me the uncountable quantity. All right, good. The second thing we're going to focus on, a little strange, to do with optimism and pessimism.
Okay.
A little versus little.
Good.
For example, there's enough money in the bank. And that's positive. So you're going to say, there's a little money in the bank.
Okay.
If I say there isn't enough money in the bank, there's
Very little money in the bank.
perfect. Good. You could say there's little money, but I think, like David said, there's very little is more common. There's very little money in the bank. So a little, positive. Little, negative. Good. There isn't enough milk in the carton.
There is very little milk in the carton.
Perfect. Good. Contract theirs.
There's very little milk in the carton.
Good. There's very little milk in the carton. I have enough patience.
I have a little patience.
Good. I have a little patience. Yeah, and you're being positive about that, optimistic. I don't have enough margarine.
Enough what?
Margarine.
I don't know.
Do you know margarine? It's like butter, but not real.
Okay.
How do you
okay.
say margarine?
Margarina.
There you go, margarine.
Okay.
So I don't have enough margarine.
I have very little margarine.
Excellent. Good. Margarine. Good. There is enough hot water.
There is a little hot water.
Perfect. Good. So optimistic, a little. Pessimistic, little or very little. All right. For uncountable nouns. Very good. Keep practicing. Bye-bye.
Okay, welcome back. Okay, to turn up, as you can see, I'm here. I have turned up. I'm going to lower this chair. This chair is too high, Maria. Yeah, somebody move the chair. All right. During the next break, remind me, Maria, to lower the chair, not to raise the chair, to lower the chair. Yes, I don't want to raise the chair because the chair is already too high. I want to lower the chair, and I can't find the little lever is una palanca. I can't find the little lever that allows me To lower the chair or to raise the chair. To lower and to raise. Now, I'm going to tell you two other phrasal verbs that can replace lower and raise concerning volume or sound. Let's go to camera 1, please. All right, yes. For example, to lower the level, un nivel. We lower the level, we raise the level. En el salto a la altura, si uno salta con éxito, se sube el listón. Yes, in high jump, if a person jumps over the bar, we call it the bar, la barra, the bar, then we raise the bar. We don't lower the bar. Now, if you're in a limbo contest where you need to go under the bar, well, then every time you successfully clear the bar, they lower it. They don't raise it. To raise and to lower. I'm raising my hand, I'm lowering my hand. And the water level, okay? If you add water, okay, if you add water to the bathtub, if you're in the bathtub, you raise the level of the water. Okay, to raise. Now, if you have the radio, for example, the radio is on, and it's very loud, you say to your friend, excuse me, can you lower the volume, please? Bajar el volumen, to lower the volume. Now, in English, we normally don't say, excuse me, can you lower the volume, please? We say, can you turn down the volume? Or can you turn down the music? Can you turn down the radio? Can you turn down the TV? Can you turn down the sound? Can you turn down? Can you turn it down, please? To turn is girar, ¿no? To turn. Turn también es torcer, girar. Dar una vuelta, to turn. To turn down is bajar el volumen. To turn up is subir el volumen. Turn it down, turn it up. And there are 4 things you can do with a radio. You first, if you want to listen to the radio, you need to turn it on. Turn it on. Turn it on. And then if you can't hear it, you need to turn it up. And if you turn it up too much, it's too loud. In which case, in cuyo caso, in which case, if you turn it up too much, then you need to turn it down or to turn it back down. And finally, when you have finished listening to the radio, you turn it off. So there are 4 verbs of turn. Turn it on, turn it off, turn it up, turn it down. All right? And we use the past tense. Yesterday, I turned on, la daily turned. I turned on the radio, and then I turned it up, and then I turned it down, and finally I turned it off. I turned it on, I turned it up, I turned it down, and finally I turned it off. But first I turned it on. After I turned it on, I turned it up. And after I turned it up, I turned it back down. And then finally I decided to turn it off, so I turned it off. I turned it on with my left hand. I turned it up with my right hand. I turned it down with my left hand again, and I used my right hand to turn it off. Okay, yes. Usually, when I get home, well, usually my wife is watching TV at home, and I decide to sit down and watch TV with her, I usually turn it up. Yes. She must have a better hearing than me, or she's Spanish and she understands Spanish more clearly than I do. But when I sit down, I always turn it up. I always turn it up. I turn up the TV, all right? And then she says, can you turn it down a little? And then I turn it down a little, and then I can't hear it, so I turn it back up. And then she says, can you turn it back down? I say, sure, I can turn it back down, but if I turn it back down, I'll end up turning it back up. And so finally we have a disagreement on the volume of the television to turn up and turn down. Often if I go to a restaurant, you know, restaurants often have background music. I like quiet restaurants. I don't like noisy restaurants. I hope Nicolas is not watching me now. Hello, Nicolas. If you're watching me, I have a dinner with Nicolas this evening. You don't know Nicolas, by the way. And I think I know. He has invited me to a particular restaurant. I've been there once, but that was several years ago, that restaurant. But I know it's a noisy restaurant. So I hope he's not watching, because then he'll feel bad inviting me to a noisy restaurant. But I don't like to go to noisy restaurants. I prefer quiet restaurants so that I can talk to the person I'm with and not have I'm constantly fighting with the music and trying to understand what a person is telling me, because the restaurant is so noisy. But sometimes I remember the head waiter takes me or takes the party to a table in a corner. Just above it is the speaker coming out of the roof, coming out of the ceiling, and it's music. And it's a bit too loud. So I call the waiter and said, "Excuse me, would you mind turning down the music just a bit? Would you mind turning down the music just a bit? Could you turn the music down just a little? Could you turn the music down? Could you turn the music down just a little?" Yes, I never asked him to turn it up. I never. All right. Yes. But sometimes, if a person is listening to a song I like, say, "Hey, can you turn it up, please? Can you turn it up?" So to turn up and to turn down. Now, the expression to turn up has a second meaning. The second meaning is presentarse. Hoy María no se presentó. She didn't turn up. She's not here. Yeah, yeah. Her twin sister is here, but Maria's not here. But she didn't turn up. And Seve was saying, "Well, where's Maria? She hasn't turned up this morning." So to turn up also means aparecer, hacer acto de presencia, presentarse, estar, llegar, to turn up. To turn down has a second meaning as well. To turn down is rechazar. Yes, rechazar una oferta, to turn down an offer. I'm going to make you an offer that you can't turn down. Yes, you shouldn't turn down that offer. That offer is a very good offer. Come on, accept it. Don't turn it down. Don't turn it down. All right? Accept the offer. All right. Yeah, yesterday I made an offer to Maria, but when she turned up, I made an offer that she turned down. Okay. But remember, the volume, you turn it up, turn it down. Turn it up, turn it down. I'll be back after our sponsors. Okay, well remember, we raise the level and we lower the level. If you want the level to be higher, then you need to raise it. If you want the level to be lower, you need to lower it. To raise something and to lower something. My job is to raise your English level, and your job, of course, is the same, to raise your own English level. My job isn't to lower your English level. Now, I recommend, of course, that if you can't hear me very well, I recommend that you turn up the volume on your television or turn up the TV. Now, if you have it too loud, I recommend you turn it down. All right? I imagine that when you change to this channel, you turn it up a bit, because I'm speaking in English most of the time. And you need to hear it more clearly to understand well. So I wouldn't be surprised if when you come to this channel, you turn it up just a little bit. It's natural. All right, I'll be back in just a few minutes.
Hello there, and it's good to see you once again. I'm Fitz, as always, and we have our guest here today, which is David. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you keeping?
I'm keeping well. Very good. That's a good Irish expression. He's keeping well today. How are you keeping? Okay, I'm keeping well too. Now, two phrasal verbs we practiced today. To turn up and to turn down. In the sense, to turn up meaning to arrive, or if you lose something and after a little while you find it. And to turn down meaning to refuse. Okay? So, what time did you turn up here today?
I turned up here at 11 o'clock today.
Okay, so what time did you turn up? I turned up at 11 o'clock. Do you often turn up late?
No, I don't often turn up late.
Okay, so do you often turn up late? Do you arrive late? Do you often turn up late? No, I don't often turn up late. Would you turn down a role in a Hollywood film?
No, I wouldn't turn down a role in a Hollywood film.
Okay, ask me if I would turn down a role in a Hollywood film.
Would you turn down a role in a Hollywood film?
No, I wouldn't turn down a role in a Hollywood film.
Okay, let's go together.
Let's go. Let's go to Hollywood. Okay. Would you turn up? Would you turn up to a party if you weren't invited?
Yes, I would turn up to a party if I weren't invited.
Okay. And do you know what this is called?
No, I don't know.
We call this being a gate crasher.
A gate crasher.
So if you turn up to a party where you're not invited, you are a gate crasher. A gate crasher. Okay. Ask me if I would turn down an offer to meet the King of Spain.
Would you turn down an offer to meet the King of Spain?
No, I wouldn't turn down an offer to meet the King of Spain. Would you turn up here at 5 a.m. in the morning if we asked you?
Yes, I turn up here at 5 a.m. in the morning if you asked me.
Very good. So I'd. Very good contraction. I'd turn up here at 5 a.m. if you asked me to. Okay. Did a spider turn up in your coffee this morning?
No, a spider didn't turn up in my coffee this morning.
Very good. Okay. Have you ever turned down an opportunity to speak English?
No, I've never turned down an opportunity to speak English.
Very good. That's the spirit. Okay. Do dogs ever turn up in the studio?
No, dogs never turn up in the studio.
Very good. So present simple. Do dogs ever turn up in the studio? No, dogs never turn up in the studio. What would you do if a rat turned up in your shoe?
If a rat turned up on my shoe, in my shoe, I would run away.
Okay, I would run away too. So if a rat turned up in his shoe, he'd run away and I'd run away. I don't know about you. Have you ever turned up at a doctor's clinic without an appointment?
No, I've never turned up at a doctor's clinic without an appointment.
Very good. So I've never turned up at a doctor's clinic without an appointment. Do you turn down calls from phone companies?
Yes, I turn down calls from phone companies.
Okay, so to refuse. I turn down calls from phone companies. Do you turn down calls from phone companies? Okay. Would you turn down a drink of whiskey on a cold day at 10 o'clock in the morning? So a cold day, but at 10 o'clock in the morning. Would you turn it down?
Okay. No, I wouldn't turn down a whiskey in a cold day on a cold day at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Very good, very good. So he wouldn't turn down a drink of whiskey on a cold day at 10 o'clock in the morning. Okay. Would you turn your best friend down if he needed help?
No, I wouldn't turn my best friends down if they needed help.
Okay, so he wouldn't turn his best friends or friend down if they needed help or if he needed help. Do people often turn up unexpectedly at your house?
No, people don't usually often.
Or don't often, yes.
No, people don't often turn up in my house.
Unexpectedly.
Unexpectedly in my house.
And again?
No, people don't often turn up unexpectedly in my house.
Very good. So people don't often turn up unexpectedly in his house. Okay. Ask me where my missing watch turned up.
Where did your missing watch turn up?
Okay, it was under the bed.
Okay.
Okay, so my missing watch, the watch that I had lost, it turned up. I found it. So ask me where my missing watch turned up. It turned up under the bed. Okay. When you lose socks, do they always turn up?
No, when I lose socks, they don't always turn up.
Okay, so when he loses socks, they don't always turn up. When I lose socks, they don't always turn up. It's one of the great mysteries of life.
Yes.
What happens to socks?
We never know.
Okay. Would you turn down the chance to achieve immortality?
No, I wouldn't turn down the chance of achieve immortality.
So to achieve or of achieving?
Okay. No, I wouldn't turn down the chance to achieve immortality.
Okay, and now with of achieving?
No, I wouldn't turn down the chance of achieving immortality.
Immortality, very good. So I wouldn't turn down the chance to achieve immortality, or I wouldn't turn down the chance of achieving Immortality. Very good. Would you turn down a scholarship to study anthropology?
No, I wouldn't turn down a scholarship to study anthropology.
Okay, so ask me if I would.
Would you turn down a scholarship to study anthropology?
No, I would accept a scholarship to study anthropology. Okay, ask me if surprises turn up all the time.
Do surprises turn up all the time?
Yes, they do. Surprises turn up all the time. Has a whale, ¿cómo se dice whale en español?
A whale?
A huge animal that lives in the sea.
Ah, okay, una ballena.
Okay, so has a whale ever turned up in the Manzanares?
No, a whale has never turned up in the Manzanares.
Okay, so has a whale ever turned up in the Manzanares? Okay, no, a whale has never turned up in the Manzanares. Do a lot of people turn up every time Spain play a soccer match? Do a lot of people turn up at the stadium
Yes.
if Spain play a soccer match?
Yes, a lot of people turn up Spain.
So a lot of people turn up if Spain.
Okay, yes, a lot of people turn up if Spain plays a soccer match.
Okay, so a lot of people turn up if Spain plays a soccer match. Would you be surprised if the Rolling Stones turned up for this TV program?
Yes, I'd be surprised if the Rolling Stones turned up.
The Rolling Stones.
If the Rolling Stones turned up for this TV program.
Okay, so he'd be surprised, and I would, if the Rolling Stones turned up for this TV program. Would you be even more surprised if John Lennon and George Harrison turned up for this TV program?
Yes, I would be even more surprised if George Lennon and George.
So John Lennon.
If John Lennon and George Harrison turned up for this TV program.
Okay, very good. So turn up, turn down. Thank you very much for watching, and see you soon. Bye-bye.
Okay, there are a few things I want to say to you. I have a few things. I have a few questions I would like to deal with concerning you. A few things, a few. Lo decimos tanto, eh? A few. Let's go to camera one and study a few. All right, please. All right. I have a few matters I want to discuss with you. A few. A few no significa realmente unos pocos, es como unos cuantos. Simplemente, tengo unos asuntos que me gustaría comentar contigo. I have a few matters I would like to discuss with you, if you have a moment, okay? A few matters. There are few matters in my life that mean as much to me as the matter I want to discuss with you today. There are few moments, few. Hay pocos, ahora sí es poco. Si no pongo a delante de few, ya sí que es pocos. There are few people in this world like Maria. There are few people in this world like Obama. There are few people, there are few. Sin embargo, probablemente diríamos en este caso, there are very few people. There are very few people. Igual que little, tengo poca agua, I have little water. Se dice muy poco. Se dice, tengo muy poco. Añadimos muy siempre. I have very little water. I'm sorry, I have very little time today. I have very little time. Few. Hay pocas oportunidades como esta. There are few opportunities like this. Is correct English, but we don't say it for some reason. We almost always add very in front of it. There are very few opportunities like this. And if we don't say there are very few opportunities, we say it the opposite. There aren't many opportunities. There aren't many opportunities like this. There are very few opportunities like the opportunity you have now with Inglés 4.0. All right, there are very few moments in life. There are very few moments in life in which you can have 3 straight hours of English classes on television at 3 different moments during the 24-hour day. All right? Yeah. Beginners, intermediate, and advanced. Yeah. And there are very few countries, países. There are very few countries in this world that have this opportunity to have English 24 hours a day on television, to learn. In fact, to tell you the truth, Spain is the only country. You should feel lucky This is the only country in which there's a television channel that spends 24 hours a day teaching English directly or indirectly. Okay? So it's not a question there are very few countries. There's only one. So there are very few people on this planet who can take advantage of this. And even in Spain, there are very few regions that receive this channel through TDT. Only Madrid, the community of Madrid, but not all of the demarcations. Some demarcations in the community of Valencia, and then all of the Balearic Islands. Outside of that, the rest of the people have to through pay TV. Maybe in the future it will change. Maybe we will grow. I really don't know. But there are very few people in Spain who have direct access to this television channel. Very few. Maybe out of the 46 million people in this country, maybe 10 million or 8 or 9 million have access. Well, that's quite a few people. That's quite a few. He puesto quite delante de a few. That's quite a few people. Eso es bastante gente, eh? That's quite a few people. Yes, quite a few people. But few is pocos. A few is unos cuantos. Quite a few is bastantes. Tengo pocas oportunidades. I have few opportunities. Probablemente diría I have very few opportunities. Ahora, tengo unas cuantas oportunidades. I have a few opportunities, eh? I have a few opportunities. Tengo bastantes oportunidades. Más de lo que piensas. I have quite a few. Yeah, I have quite a few opportunities. It's interesting. No, I don't have many opportunities. I have very few. I don't have many opportunities. I have very few. Yeah. There are very few cities like Madrid in the world. There are very few cities in Madrid. There aren't many cities like Madrid. There are very few. Yeah, there are a few. Rome, Athens. Yeah, there are a few cities. Well, Madrid is nicer than Athens. Madrid is nicer than Rome. Really? Well, there are very few, very few cities like Madrid. Well, what's so special about Madrid? The woman I love lives in Madrid. That's why. It makes it unique, singular. So there's no comparison between Madrid and the other cities. So there are very few cities like Madrid. In fact, there are no cities in the world like Madrid. There are very few cities in the world like New York. New York City is an interesting city, different. Some people love it, some people hate it. Yes. Very few people are indifferent after visiting New York City. After spending some time in Manhattan, very few people leave the city indifferent. Most people either love it or hate it. Me, I love New York. I like New York very much. All right? But I don't know if I would like to live there. I wouldn't mind living in New York with money. If I were rich, no problem. I would love to live in New York. If I'm not rich, probably not. Now, Madrid and Barcelona are the Spanish cities. You can live well if you're rich, and you can enjoy life and live well if you're not rich. They're very good cities. Some cities require having money in order to enjoy them. Other cities don't. The cities in Spain, in my opinion, don't require having a lot of money to have a wonderful time. So for me, there are very few cities like New York, but also there are very few cities like Madrid, and there are very few cities like Barcelona. Barcelona is a Mediterranean city. Valencia is a Mediterranean city, but Barcelona has a certain flavor that's different from Valencia. Marseille is a Mediterranean city. Naples, Athens, Smyrna. But I think probably on the Mediterranean, Barcelona is the best. If I have to choose one city on the Mediterranean Sea, I would choose Barcelona. Now, I've never been to Beirut in Lebanon. They say that Beirut is fantastic. So and Alexandria. I really don't know. But for me, Barcelona is the best. Okay, I'll see you in a few minutes.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to part 3 of class number 180. And part 3 means that we have to look at our 5 words of vocabulary. But first, I will introduce my guest today, Juan. Juan, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Juan is doing great. I'm doing great. How are you doing? Good? Great? Excellent. Good, excellent. Good, good. They're doing excellent.
That's wonderful.
I'm glad to hear it. And as I said, well, we have today a few things to talk about. A few. Well, we're going to talk about a few. But first, let's take a look at our 5 words of vocabulary. Are you ready for this, Juan?
Yes, I'm ready for this.
Okay. So the first word, los medios de comunicación.
The media.
The media. Yeah, the media. The media. So the media, so including newspapers and television and radio and all this stuff, the media. Right?
Yep.
Number 2 is puesta del sol.
Sunset.
Sunset, yeah. So a noun here, sunset. And the sun, we also say the sun sets. So the verb to set. Does the sun set in the east or in the west, Juan?
The sun sets in the west.
Yeah. Where does it rise?
It rises in the east.
What time did it rise this morning?
I don't know when it rose this morning. I guess it rose at 7, something like that.
I don't know when it rose. Yeah, maybe around 7, let's say. I don't know either. I wasn't paying attention. What time will it set tonight?
I think it would set around.
Sorry?
I think it will set around 8.
Okay. All right. So the sunset. Okay. And the third word today is espada.
Sword.
Sword. Yeah, sword. Just like pez espada, right? Swordfish.
Swordfish, yeah.
It's logical, right? So where do they make all the swords in Spain? Alicante or Toledo?
They make it at Toledo.
In Toledo.
In Toledo.
They make them in Toledo, yes. The swords. Toledo is famous for its swords, right?
Yes.
All the swords in a lot of popular movies have swords from Toledo. Have you ever been to Toledo?
Yes, I've been to Toledo quite a few times, yeah.
All right, all right. La Vía Láctea.
The Milky Way.
The Milky Way, yes. Kind of makes me feel like eating a chocolate or something, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
The Milky Way. The Milky Way, we say. All right. And our last word is fecha objetivo.
Target date.
Target date. Target date. So we have a target date for completion, for example. With construction projects, they always set a target date. Do they always meet those deadlines, though?
No, they don't always meet those deadlines.
Sometimes they go past the date, right?
Yes, they normally do.
The target date. So we have a target date, and then we have a deadline. What's a deadline?
It should be the same, shouldn't it? The deadline and the target date.
Well, the target date, we're hoping for this, but the deadline theoretically is when it has to be done. We have a deadline. It absolutely must be done. Whereas the target is like we expect and we hope that it will be done at this day. But a deadline, you don't want to miss that deadline. Typically with deadlines, there's a consequence, maybe a negative consequence if you go over or past the deadline, right? Deadline. Fecha tope, you say?
Yes.
Deadline. All right, it's time to look at few and a few, and also quite a few. So what's the difference if we say I have few pens or quite a few pens? What's the difference?
I think few means unos pocos, and quite a few bastantes, I think.
Yeah, quite a few, but yes, bastantes. And we have this idea, if few, I have few, or I have very few, muy pocos, right?
Yes.
So maybe I have 4 pens, and everyone comes in, Kyle, can I borrow a pen? Can I borrow a pen? I only have few pens here. I have very few pens. So I can't be lending everyone a pen, right? But even if I have 4 pens, if I only need 1, and then I'm emphasizing that I have more than I need. I could say, I have quite a few pens. So if I lose 1, it's not a problem because I have quite a few. So in both cases, I could have 4 pens. But if I'm sort of being pessimistic and worried about running out, I can say, I only have a few, or I have very few. But, I have a few pens. I have quite a few pens. Can mean that I have more than I need, right?
Yeah.
Hace tanto calor que hay muy poca gente en el parque.
It's so hot, there are few people in the park.
Yeah. In fact, muy poca gente.
It's so hot, there are very few people in the park.
In the park. Yeah, it's so hot that, which is optional, that there are very few people in the park. Do you go to the park when it's hot, Juan?
No, I don't go to the park when it's hot.
Había unas cuantas personas esperando al artista.
There were quite a few people waiting for the artist.
Good. At home, there were quite a few. I was surprised. There were quite a few people waiting for the artist. Yeah. Afortunadamente, puede pagar el café porque tenía unas monedas.
Hopefully he could pay the coffee because he had a few coins.
Now imagine we could say, luckily. I was lucky here. Luckily, I could pay.
Luckily, I could pay my coffee because I had a few coins.
Yeah, but now be careful. Luckily, I could pay for. It's important the for.
Okay.
Right. If you go to the cafe, you pay for the coffee. You pay the person.
Okay.
Can I pay you, or do I have to pay the other person? You can pay me. What are you paying for? What are you paying for? I'm paying for the coffee, but I'm paying you, right?
Yeah.
So you pay something. You pay someone for something, right?
Okay.
Quedaban solo unas cuantas personas cuando lleguemos. Let's try that one at home. There were only a few people left. And how would you finish that?
When we got home.
Cuando llegamos.
When we got there.
Well, when we arrived. Well, we use get if we know the location. We got there, when we got here, when we got home. But cuando llegamos.
When we arrived.
When we arrived, yeah. Okay. Vimos bastantes coches de época en la exposición. Coches de época.
We saw quite a few. I don't know how to say coches de época. Old cars or.
We can say vintage cars. Quite a few vintage cars. Old 1952 Fords.
Like the wines, vintage, like the wines.
Yeah, absolutely, a vintage car. We saw quite a few vintage cars. Where?
I don't know, the show.
We could say at the show, at the auto show. We saw quite a few vintage cars at the auto show. We're out of time, Juan. You've done a great job today.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much to you. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
All right. Yes, I'm sitting in a different place today, but it's the same concept. The concept right now of saying goodbye. But I want to say goodbye, congratulating you on finishing another class. Class number 180, which means we have only 15 classes left, only 3 weeks left. We're getting closer and closer to the end. Today I was teaching a few, or very few, and I said there are very few opportunities like the opportunity you are having right now. Vago en Inglés 4.0 and Aprende Inglés TV is only in Madrid, Valencia, and Balearic Islands. So those of you, and on Imaginación Ono. So those of you who are watching this have an opportunity that most people don't have. Very few people have this opportunity. So please try to take advantage of it. See you tomorrow.